This is Solomon seal, which is used in Chinese medicine. It's called yutsu. And this plant is in the lily family, and one of its closest relatives is lily of the valley. And it has almost identical properties. I think it has identical properties to lily of the valley. They both contain Convallarin, which acts as a digitalis for heart circulation, improving heart function and clearing the heart. The root is what's generally used. It's also used for the lungs, and it's also used for healing wounds and joints and bones, both taken internally and externally. It's a plant that has cooling and healing properties, similar to comfrey. Both of them nourish the yin, or the cooling or moistening energies of the body, rather than the warming and stimulating energies of the body.
This is Solomon seal. It's a variegated variety. That means it has these little white speckles, lines on it. And I got this from a man who had this lovely nursery in Felton near Santa Cruz some years ago. And he was growing it because it was an unusual ornamental, and I was excited because it was a medicinal. This grows natively in the East Coast. It doesn't grow in California. We have what's called the fault Solomon seal. It grows in the mountains, and it has the flowers that come at the ends of it, while the true Solomon seal has the flowers at the leaf stems right here, and they're white and green. The root in this is what's used medicinally. It's considered a yin tonic. It re-moistens. People use it a lot for people who have dry joints, cracking and popping bones, dryness in the interior of their organs. And when you harvest the root and you taste it, it's very slimy. And that's what a yin tonic is. It's very slimy. It has a really nice soothing quality. And it has kind of a slightly sweet taste to it. So a lot of times the sweet, slimy herbs are considered yin tonics, and they help to re-moisten dryness. And this plant, I had gotten it from a little 4-inch pot, put it in here, and it grows by runners. And it has just taken over this section of this raised bed, and sometimes I even have it coming out of the cracks of this raised bed. But it just keeps on expanding itself, which I'm thrilled with. There's some baby ones down here that I can see. But anyways, that's the Solomon seal.
Solomon seal, this is to me an amazing, amazing plant. It's almost in blossom. As far as I'm aware, every part of the plant is useful, and I use every part of the plant. It was used traditionally for really tough chronic illnesses that just wouldn't go away, and a person had a lot of debility and they needed building up. Solomon seal is also used for what today we might call irritable bowel or inflamed bowels. The root was used for that. The berries taste absolutely delicious. They're the sweetest, most succulent berry you can ever put in your mouth. The seeds are really hard, and I've heard toxic, so I just spit those out. But Solomon seal has a tuber on the root, which is about this big around, and it's the color of a potato on the inside, and the root is the color of potato, and it's very moist. And you can eat it raw, just like it was an apple. And Solomon seal was used as a survival food by Native Americans in this area. But I like it best for really tough, chronic conditions that just are not getting any better, and folks need a little extra oomph to get over them. So Matthew?
Yeah, the signature I was taught by a Native American on that was often towards summer they start to bow down like this, and they look like someone that needs convalescence. You know, they're kind of tired looking.
Droopy,
they are a little droopy, just in the leaves right now. So let's see. Well, this plant is one that just kind of psychically inspired me, I'd have to say. Just came to me. I just couldn't like get it out of my mind, kind of. I looked at the roots and they look so much like vertebrae and bones and knuckles. And right away I knew it was good for the joints, and I tried it, and it's, I'd say a third of the people, maybe everybody needs it for their joints, especially the older you get. In fact, I took a little bit before this trip, just one dose on my knees because they were getting really creaky, and my knees have been feeling real good ever since then. Just the one dose. In fact, I just put the dropper, the alcohol tincture of the root of the rhizome right through my blue jeans onto my knees. And it's good for, it moistens and lubricates the tendons and ligaments, particularly would be its main kind of thrust. It may lubricate into the joint itself, I'm not sure. It may be good for connective tissue in general, but it's particularly good for tendons and ligaments. It's like when the tendons are too loose and they don't go back into place, which happens when you're older, or when they're too tight and they don't stretch, or they're tight and they stretch and then they just hang loose because they've gotten traumatized like that. So too tight, too loose, it gets them back in order. And that makes it kind of, I always think of it then as a good luck remedy, like be in the right place at the right time. It has a kind of vibe about it that it helps you with your timing and putting your body in the right place and being limber and having a good day instead of tripping and falling down and wrecking your knee or something like that.
Yeah.
And it is indeed a good irritable bowel symptom remedy. And when the root is like together, although it does look a lot like vertebrae and stuff, it also looks kind of like an intestine.
It does.
Yeah.
Really it does.
Yeah. And I use just the, well, by root I mean actually the rhizomes are the main thing. And everybody could use that past a certain age.
I think Solomon's Seal is excellent for people as they age. And the way Solomon's Seal grows in the woods, it likes, you'll find a patch uphill and then all the way downhill as the seeds drop, the water washes them down. So you find Solomon's Seal next to little trails, next to little washes where the water comes in and carries the seeds down. So we'll find Solomon's Seals. I've investigated this little patch of land, and Solomon's Seal pretty much follows this trail all the way through to the other side, you know, maybe a half an acre, 3/4 acre away, where the land changes, and then you have another little cluster because the land's not dropping anymore. So we get another little patch of Solomon's Seal over there, and it'll go all the way through as long as the land drops to carry the seeds. So if you're Solomon's Seal hunting, that's kind of a signature for it, that it follows water paths. So that may be a signature in the body that we haven't really investigated or thought about too, is that it follows kind of the water paths down the woods.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, I've taken that signature in a slightly different direction. I have been in the habit of saying that it likes to grow on the sides of hills. It doesn't like flat ground.
No, it doesn't.
You can grow it in your garden, and it'll do okay on flat ground. But usually, when you see it in nature, this is about as flat as it gets, and this is still a sloping.
It's sloping
hillside.
from up above us. Yeah.
Yeah. And it likes that. It likes the slope ground, and interestingly enough, some of my students down in Iowa, they pointed out two of them ripped their Achilles tendon when they were walking in a sloped parking lot. So walking on sloped ground is a place that stresses the tendons and ligaments, and so that's a signature. It's a strange sort of signature, but it works. With the doctrine of signatures, you get your big signatures right. Like on this one, it's like bones, knuckles,
intestines.
Yeah, tendons. Another signature. It's not on this. Not pronounced on this variety. You can see it some, but it looks like the leaf is joined around the stem. It'll look kind of like yeah, there you go. Like the muscle conjoined to a big bone, you know, like the way like the attachment. And so it's really good for those attachments too, which are ligamentous or tendinous, the fascia. That's another signature. So it just looks like everything it's for. And you got your main signature right, and you can keep on building on it with the little signatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, David and I just pried up a stone that was in the way, and you can see the whole of the root of the Solomon seal here was trying to find its way out. And it had finally made it over to here where we had our stem that we picked. And we don't want to waste this, so we're going to pry out the stone and pick this and dig it out. And here's the mother plants over here. And this probably was not planted by the previous owner, but probably was brought in by birds here. And let's see, we'll try and get what we can out of here. Well, maybe that wasn't the mother plant. It seems to have its own. To be going over to the plant we picked. Several, well, this is rather typical. You dig it up and there's more. It came from, they're just all over the place. And it's valuable. It's very common in woodlands in the north here, and even grows in people's yards very easily. We don't want to waste any of it.